Story 1. I am not dating anyone until I get my act together. Unless someone trips and stumbles into my life as I am, by some miracle, I will not actively seek partnerships of any kind. Story 2. It is very difficult to get a job. Now imagine getting a girlfriend. Story 3. My wife left me a year and a half ago. I only recently started thinking about meeting someone and starting a relationship again. I have not actually taken any steps toward that yet. Story 4. Avoidant personality, too independent, afraid of change, feeling ugly, with zero self-worth. But I like long walks on the beach if that is your thing. Story 5. I am below average looking, have little money, no self-esteem, am afraid of rejection, and I do not know where to begin looking for someone. I call myself an idiot and a failure, and I cannot feel emotions. I could go on, but this is an okay list to start with. Story 6. I am a 32-year-old female who has never been in a relationship. I was focused on my studies earlier, and I now find it difficult to get along with others. Story 7. My girlfriend broke up with me via text 4 hours ago. Story 8. I fell in love with a unique soul. I have not found anyone else who piques my interest like she did. Hugs and kisses. Story 9. Relationships are hard work, and I just do not have it in me right now. It is not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe one day. At 34, after 2 long-term relationships, the beginning stages feel exhausting. I would rather have my peace for a while. Story 10. I have below-average looks. I do not get matches on dating apps. When I do not receive messages back. Story 11. I mostly keep to myself and enjoy it. I have places where I park my car to watch sunsets. I like grabbing a beer at a local bar while I read the news. I think it's important to say you can't blame others for failing to find a relationship while being a hidden person. I am, in practice, a hidden person. I have had some relationships. From them I know that being alone is less isolating than feeling alone. There is no permanent damage on myself, and over the years I've come to like that. I have friends and family. It's unusual for me to go long without talking to someone, but I'm comfortable with stretches of genuine silence. Story 12. I do not want children. I do not enjoy hobbies that would help me meet new people in real life. I am stuck with the face I have. Story 13. I work, go home and sleep. I keep picking the wrong people to crush on. I am kind of enjoying my peaceful, drama-free life. Story 14. I have never been attracted to anyone and have never had a crush. Story 15. I was not sober, but I am now. I will change my situation soon. Story 16. I have been depressed for a number of years, which has led to weight gain and anxiety when I am outside. Story 17. If I am completely honest, I have been scarred enough by flirting that even the slightest hint of rejection, or someone out of my league reaching out to talk, activates my fight or flight instinct. Story 18. Being alone does not scare me, and I genuinely enjoy it. Sometimes I even crave it. My home is my sanctuary, and I will not settle down with someone who brings drama and baggage that would destroy it. Too long. Did not read. I am content with single life. I do not need another person to make me feel whole. Story 19. I have not touched a woman in 15 years. I never thought this would be my life. I trusted someone more than 15 years ago. I trusted her with my life, and she completely had my back since 1996. Then the Great Recession happened. She emptied my savings, maxed my credit card, and, long story short, she bailed on me and got away with it. I was faced with homelessness or living in my family's tiny apartment. I have been saving ever since to afford a place. However, I will never afford a place in any traditional way, so I have to invent a completely new type of affordable housing and build it abroad. She promised it was all a mistake and that she would pay me back. She repaid a few $100s, cut off communication for a while, then emailed me her wedding photos saying she had never been happier. I destroyed over a decade of memories. I cut up all the photos, threw out anything that reminded me of her, and shut down the email account she had. I cannot even remember what she looks like anymore, and I am glad for it. I do not say her name either. She is basically Voldemort to me, I am single because I know something most of you do not. Desperation changes people. This woman was the most giving, nicest person ever, and she threw me under the bus because it was her only option. Everything was falling apart far too fast for me to recover. My retail job, the career I went to college for, 13% unemployment, it all went to hell. So she did what she had to do to survive. Whether you agree with that or not does not matter. It is what it is. I am single because I cannot afford to take that chance again. There is no second chance this time. My family is elderly and will not last much longer. Soon they will be in a care home and I will have no one else. Even if I pull off a miracle and invent affordable housing by myself, I cannot risk a woman finding a way to take it away from me. Everyone will want to take it away from me. How dare a retail clerk live in a paid-off home of 1,400 to 2,000 square feet? It is a strange reality to know no one will ever hold me again. It is a cold way to live, but it is a way to live. Story 20. Because nobody really wants love nowadays, they just want a premium subscription to a new sex, cuddle, money, validation, attention, entertainment package that they plan to discard whenever a better plan comes along. My sincerity and love are not worth it. Story 21. I am introverted, have a low bank account balance, and a severely troubled gastrointestinal tract, which causes me to spend far too much time in the bathroom. I have borderline Asperger's syndrome. When I was tested for autism at the Kennedy Krieger Institute in the mid-1990s, I scored just above what would be today's cutoff. I also love reptiles and invertebrates. And no, I am not trading my pets for a partner. Story 22. After my last ex, I decided I had to lose weight before I got back in the dating game. I finally got to where I wanted to be, then suddenly found another reason to wait a little longer. Laughing out loud. To be continued, I guess. Story 23. People today just want to have fun. No one takes things seriously anymore. Story 24. I believe in meeting people naturally, through common social circles or shared interests. I do not believe in love at first sight, nor do I approach women with the intention of dating. I prefer to get to know them and be friends. If I start to like someone along the way, that's great. If I compare my dating life to a Venn diagram, very few people make it to the center circle where I both like them and have great chemistry. The problem is that no one in that center circle returns my romantic interest. They care about me, but only as a friend or in a platonic way. That frustrates me, but I accept that this is the kind of person I am. I do not want to give off a creepy vibe from the outset. After several rejections, here I am, single. Story 25. It's so hard to trust people nowadays, and nobody wants me. Story 26. Well, I would say two things. First, I am ugly. Second, I want a date to marry, not just a fling or any premarital relationship. It's really hard to find that these days. Story 27. He is not over his ex-fiancée and will be in New York until mid-October. He is apparently straight. Story 28. I have chosen abusive partners repeatedly. It is time to choose myself. Story 29. Try a long-term relationship and see for yourself. Many divorced people swear off relationships. Story 30. I live in a town of 300 people. There are 3 women around my age. One is a nice girl but is in a relationship. Another has a reputation for being very promiscuous. The third has a history of severe substance use and allegedly murdered her husband. Story 31. My fiancé was secretly spending all of his money on opioids instead of saving for his half of our elopement and honeymoon. Story 32. Everyone I've dated has pretended to be someone else to win me over, then stopped caring once we were together. One person pretended to share my hobbies, then later admitted they actually disliked them. I dated someone for almost a year who always kept their house cleaned up after themselves when we visited and offered to do chores, but after we moved in together they turned out to be a closet slob. I did not sign up to be anyone's parent, and I will not waste my time on people who do not genuinely enjoy my company. I am over it and happier on my own. Story 33. To be honest, I have been hurt too many times trying to find the right person. At least until I think I can handle being hurt again, I am going to sit and hope the right person chooses me someday. Story 34. I am poor and do not have a social life. Both are understandably unattractive to women. Story 35. I could have a partner if I wanted to, but romance seems boring. I never cared as a kid and care even less as an adult. I can't stand being around most people anyway. Story 36. I am an aspie. We are not loved and are judged. Story 37. My anxiety, savior complex, and romantic tendencies lead me to cling to the wrong people. I have been hurt too many times. I am painfully rebuilding myself and need to become less codependent. Story 38. I am introverted. People think I am boring and that I look like a creep. Story 39. I'm very attractive, and most women only want to know what it would be like to have sex with me. Very few want to date me or be in a relationship with me. Story 40. I have high standards. Not everyone is worth the effort. I prefer quality over quantity. The wrong person can lead you into bad situations. I also don't want to date until I have my life together. Laughing out loud. Story 41. Before, I did not notice the hints. Now that I understand them, I do not know how to act and I feel paralyzed. I am 20 years old and I have never had a girlfriend. Story 42. I recently ended a 2-year relationship in which I was cheated on. I realized that I entered that relationship too soon after my divorce and did not have time to process it. Now I am trying to process the divorce and the recent breakup at the same time. I have decided to devote this time to myself and focus on loving myself unconditionally before I begin dating again. Once I can love and accept myself, become comfortable being alone, and learn to live for myself, I think I will be ready to put myself back out there. Until then, I am working to fill the void. It is hard, but I have to do it or I will fall into the same pattern. Story 43. I am learning to love and respect myself so I can enter a relationship with confidence rather than trying to placate a future partner to stay because of my insecurities. Story 44. I cannot make friends. I do not like meeting new people. I am socially awkward. Story 45. Unemployment does a lot to kill a person's potential to find a partner, let alone their community, even if the unemployed person is attractive and willing to work. Story 46. I am introverted and do not like people. I value my freedom and my peace. Story 47. I am a difficult and grumpy person. I don't care if people like me, and I probably don't know what the word love means. No one has ever taught me that. Above all, I love the idea of love so much that the possibility of a relationship that could destroy that idea kills me. Story 48. I am 15 and have not started dating yet. I feel like I am starting to want a boyfriend, though I am not completely focused on it right now. Story 49. I am working on myself, and I choose not to bring a headache, but I do admit I miss cuddling around 11 p.m., laughing out loud. Story 50. The person I like does not like me back, and the person I do not like keeps chasing me. Story 51. I kicked my ex-husband out 4 years ago and have had no desire to be in another relationship or live with a partner. I have happily had a long-term friends with benefits relationship for almost 3 years, and I have been focused on my teenagers, whom I have full-time. Story 52. Well, the reason I stay single is multifaceted. I am an introvert who harbors some antisocial traits. I would not call myself conventionally attractive. The relationships I had witnessed growing up in my family were truly awful. I am sure there is a deep subconscious desire somewhere to seek that out again. I mainly watch and listen to people describe the absolute insanity of the hookup and dating culture now. I cannot feel anything, but I feel for you. Laughing out loud. Story 53. I live in a small town where I am attracted to only one guy, but he is not interested in me. Story 54. I have trust issues and refuse to give anyone the power to damage my nervous system again. Story 55. Women do not initiate first, which makes it impossible for socially anxious men like me. Story 56. I've tried countless times to find a partner and it never worked. I worked on myself and improved to the point where people enjoyed being around me. I tried again, but I was lied to several times, so I gave up for a while. Now I'm looking again, but I don't know many people. Going out and approaching someone at random is almost impossible, and there is no one I find attractive in my classes. So I am waiting for an opportunity. Story 57. As cliché as it might sound, it is peaceful to be able to take a nap whenever and not have to explain or excuse it to anyone. Story 58. I never felt right with anyone. I prefer my own company anyway. Story 59. I still have some work to do on myself before I am ready for a relationship. Story 60. My girlfriend of 12 years left me a couple of months ago. I need a little more time, but I am terrified of trying to find someone again. She was my first everything, and now I am 32, having to find someone else when I have only ever been intimate with her. I spent a third of my life with her. It is not going to be easy. Story 61. I would like to have children with someone who does not already have children. I am taking this seriously. The last person I thought was the one did not feel the same, and I am not going to do that again. Story 62. I have very high standards for someone who is average. Also, my last girlfriend cheated on me and married the other man less than a month after I moved out. So I have naturally sabotaged every possible relationship since to avoid feeling that unholy emptiness and sadness again. Story 63. I had been ghosted. Women would not show up until one woman told me, I am sorry, I am not physically attracted to you at all, and I do not know anyone else who will. That is when it hit me. I am happy being single and going about my own life, making the best of what I have been dealt. Story 64. You get to a point where you enjoy your daily routine and being by yourself. I remember when my ex used to ruin my day early. Story 65. I don't want to use dating apps anymore, and I'm too shy to approach guys in real life, so I've decided to die alone. Are you thinking about hurting yourself? If you are in immediate danger, call your local emergency number right now, for example, 911 in the United States. If you are in the United States, you can call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If you are elsewhere, please contact your local emergency services or crisis line in your country. If you want to talk or need help finding resources, I can help. Story 66. Being alone is easier than dealing with people and their problems. Story 67. I actually want to be myself for the first time in my life after being abused for so many years. I truly have not been able to discover who I am, so why would I allow someone to come in and make me believe they are perfect for me? Story 68. I am working on myself so that I can choose the right person, be in a healthy relationship, and recognize when a relationship is not healthy. Story 69. Does not have a stable source of income, does not have stable mental health, and is not looking for a casual sexual relationship. Simple as that. Story 70. I have difficulty engaging and cannot hold conversations with people I like. Story 71. I am used to being single and I am not looking for a relationship. Story 72. I am so done with dating. If my dream man does not knock on my door and bring snacks, I do not even care anymore. Story 73. At first, I needed to heal from my worst and most abusive relationship. Physical, emotional, and mental. A year or two later, I wanted to improve my career and personal life before re-entering the dating world. Now that I am a step away from my dream career and my personal life is content, the usual suspects and local options either are not viable, not available, or neither party is interested. Dating apps are not worth the risk of multiple hookups when you are looking for a life partner and want to get to know someone before bringing them near your home. Co-workers, friends of friends, and anyone's exes are conflicts of interest. 99.9% of the time it ends up messy and not worth the risk or possible loss of friendship. Singles events are hit or miss depending on location, host, and crowd. You cannot trust a blind date. Your friends have as much idea of who your true love is as you do no idea. That being said, my life as a woman has never been more peaceful, more successful, or easier to navigate since I stopped making a partner or dating a priority in my day-to-day. I strongly believe that when you stop looking for something, it finds you. Many of the things we want in life are pushed away by our own actions because we make them so important or allow their absence to affect us. Married people wish they were single, and single people wish they were married. If you can find a way to enjoy being single and fall in love with yourself, When love finds you, you will experience an even better version of love than most of the people you once envied, who likely did not have the chance to do the same. Story 74. I am not single, but if the long-term relationship I am in ends, I will be single. I like peace and quiet and do not like explaining myself or justifying my actions, nor compromising because the other person might get upset. Story 75. I just don't think anyone will be willing to be with me for a long time. Story 76. I feel like the men I attract only want me for sex and treat dating as a way to get sex. Combined with current abortion laws and the political climate, I often pull away when someone says something that reminds me of what I have learned about sexism in recent years or of cases of women being murdered and of threatening messages I have seen. Maybe it is a flaw or maybe it is self-protection. I am 27, so the dating pool for my age is part of the issue. Story 77. I can't find a nerdy girl who loves video games and anime, whether suggestive or not. I despise long, drawn-out messages. Please send a simple message. Story 78. Absolute distrust of all living things. Major undiagnosed mental disorders. Story 79. I live in the southern United States and I have standards. That is not a profitable combination. Story 80. I am traumatized by verbal abuse, lies, and manipulation from my last relationship and have many doubts about entering a new relationship. Story 81. I am burned out on relationships and no longer interested in them. Story 82. It is freeing. I like companionship when there is a need. I do not want to be tied down by the way society defines relationships. Story 83. I am overweight, have not had a glow up yet, and I am unemployed. I like men who are intelligent, articulate, somewhat athletic, and mentally stable. I want to be a good wife. Therefore, I will not enter the dating market until I have lost weight, become employed, and developed reasonable competence in my hobbies. Story 84. I do not want to be, but it seems women over 50 know what they want, and if you do not meet that window precisely, they will move on. Story 85. The dating scene at the moment is ridiculous. Relationships seem not worth the hassle, and I cannot find anyone who wants an old-school romance. Story 86. Clinical depression, alcoholism, introversion. Take your pick. I am no good to anyone right now. Story 87. I do not have a real attraction to people. I wish I could, though. Story 88. Male, 26. After my first 5-year relationship ended, I realized I was not living for myself. For the past 2 years, I have been learning to care for myself and enjoy time alone instead of anxiously filling it with tasks or things I feel I should do to relax. I have formed relationships with men who want to improve and who talk about the positive and negative experiences that have shaped their worldview. Because of them, I am more open to exploring what has shaped me and what will shape me. That has increased my self-confidence, but I am still very shy and need to allow myself to connect with more people. It will happen eventually, and I am less worried about when. Story 89. I don't like feeling tethered. I need to feel free. I haven't met anyone who didn't want to control me but just wanted to be with me and love me for who I am. Story 90. I am in my 30s. I have always been single. I was asked out a handful of times in the past few years, but I avoided it. Feels too late and I do not really care. Story 91. Everyone seems replaceable nowadays. If you become ill, injured, or develop a vitamin deficiency or another condition that causes persistent depression, your girlfriend or wife may see you as a burden and leave. Even if nothing about you changes, if she meets someone who seems 5 to 10% better, she may leave. There is little loyalty or certainty. Marriage is treated like dating. For me, there is no benefit to keeping a relationship longer than about 3 months. That is the point when the honeymoon feeling is fading but you are not yet attached enough for a breakup to be deeply painful. Story 92. I recently discovered I am a serial monogamist. My mum left when I was a baby, so I discovered I had been looking for a mother, not a partner. Back to the drawing board I go. Story 93. I am introverted. I cannot do hookups because I need a real connection before I can be intimate. My last relationship was with a woman who played me. She love bombed me into thinking it was real, then broke up with me, blocked me, and ghosted me. That experience changed the way I view love and relationships. Story 94. I would like the people I meet to seem genuinely interested in me instead of my having to prove myself to win them over. So far, I have not met someone I can be myself around and who likes me. It always requires performative dating nonsense, which is tiring when it feels like you are not getting anything in return. I feel like I am begging for their affection. As arrogant as it sounds, I know my worth and I should not have to go through that. Online dating amplifies that dynamic. When you add cultural fit, international relationships, and financial differences, practically everyone I have met is eliminated as a potential partner. Story 95. I am introverted and either ugly or very average looking. My picture is in a post to roast. Story 96. Depression affects me. I have had opportunities to be in a relationship, but I turned them down because I was aware of my own red flags. I do not want to drag someone else into that dark pit of self-loathing and suicidal ideation. I am not ready. Depression makes it feel like I will never be ready, but I still try. Story 97. As for me, being single, I enjoy myself. It's really cool. Story 98. I am introverted and lack social skills. My hobbies do not encourage meeting new people. I do not think I am ugly, but I do not feel attractive enough to get a second look, and the lack of confidence hurts. I am nearing 30 and have never been in a relationship, although I have a stable career. I have accepted that I will likely be alone, and I am at peace with that. Story 99. This is only the second time today that I have seen this question posted. Story 100. I have no choice. My husband passed away, and I'm not ready to be with anyone else. Story 101. By choice, simply because no one can show up the way I need them to. Story 102. I broke up with my ex. I loved her and she was a good person, but we were constantly fighting over every little thing, so breaking up was the right choice. I haven't had the energy to invest in a new relationship. I've been busy with work, and I'd rather wait for the right person than rush into a relationship with the wrong person. Story 103. I would be a burden to others, and I do not want that. Story 104. Maybe I'm not feminine enough. Guys like the idea of a chill girl who plays video games and watches sports, but none of them ever wants to stick around. I guess they just get bored of me. Story 105. I was with my previous girlfriend for about 4 months, but she was recently divorced and decided she needed more time for herself before rushing into anything serious. No hard feelings. We still keep in touch and meet up occasionally. It has been a couple of months since that split, and I just have not been in a rush to get back out there. Story 106. I'm not attractive to the people I find attractive. I imagine this wouldn't be a problem if I liked men. Oh well. Story 107. I am waiting for her. She says she does not feel ready yet. She liked me and I like her, and I really wanted to be her. We were friends for 3 years, so I know and trust her, and that is one of the reasons I fell in love with her. Story 108. At first glance, I do not know why I exercise. I have a good physique and I am a good person. I would be more specific, but I am too lazy. I am somewhat apathetic when it comes to relationships. Whether sentimental or not, I simply feel that I still have not found someone who wants to understand me or who at least wants something serious. The truth does not worry me at all. I am 18. Story 109. I am still in school, so I am focusing on my studies. I am not really interested in dating. I have not found anyone attractive. Dating is too expensive. Story 110. It's because where I live there are no men my age. Story 111. I don't use online dating, and I'm too shy to talk to people randomly. Story 112. That is how I am meant to be. It is what it is, and you know what? I am fine with it. Story 113. I do not feel comfortable being in a relationship when I do not like myself. I deeply resent that others perceive me as pretty when I do not. Story 114. I have too much sensitivity to rejection to put myself out there, so focusing on myself seems more beneficial. Story 115. Working on myself, and I do not think I am ready to be with someone. I am still figuring out what I want from myself, let alone from someone else. I have commitment issues. Story 116. Not pretty enough for my crush or for my taste. Story 117. I am not financially stable yet, so I do not feel I deserve to date. I want to focus on getting my finances in order and getting in shape. Maybe then I will take dating seriously. My main goal is to save $5,000 and then travel to different states and countries. I would not mind staying single as I prefer being alone. Story 118. I am not sure, to be honest. I guess maybe I do not go out anywhere suitable to meet people, and my style is not very try-hard about looking good. But I am well-groomed. Story 119. Everyone I ask says no to going out. I've come to accept that as long as I live here, no one is going to fall for me. I'm in a rural state, and no one seems to be into creative types here, mostly mechanics and hunters. I'll find love someday. But a silver lining is that I can focus on college. Story 120. I have no idea. Everyone I date says great things about me, but none of them feel anything for me. I am convinced this will never change. I put in the effort because I want to find someone, but I suspect I never will. Story 121. I'm from New Zealand, and nearly everyone seems like a cousin, so I'd need a whole family history just to check whether we're related. It's too much work, so I'd rather stay single. Thanks. Story 122. I live in a small town where at least 15% of residents have been sexually involved with one another or share children. 5% are part of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer community. 35% are outside my age bracket. 10% are convicted felons. Story 123. The better question is, why are you partnered? Dating is usually too much work and stress. Coincidentally, I came across this right after. The man has the right idea. Kevin Durant has a fortune of $200 million and is nearing 40 years old. He has no wife, no children, no girlfriend, no hairbrush, and no skincare routine. He has just his mother and basketball. He lives a simple, stress-free life. He recently gave a controversial interview. This dating thing sucks. Dating causes addiction, not freedom. I like to feel free without constant emotional attachment. And when it comes to intimacy, I would rather pay for the experience, no strings attached. He explained that being in a relationship is a lot of work. To him, it feels like a form of restriction. If things go wrong, a man can end up losing a large part of his wealth, something his partner did not help him earn. Durant says he would rather stay single and protect his peace of mind than risk emotional and financial chaos. Story 124. I chose to be alone because I did not want to bring anyone into a hectic life. I am slowly getting back out there. Thank goodness life has started to settle down for me a bit. Story 125. I went on a dating sabbatical almost 3 years ago. I grew tired of empty promises, bait and switch tactics, endless texting, and ghosting. The effort I gave was not reciprocated, so I stepped away and found my peace. While I am open to dating, I am not actively pursuing it. I deleted all the dating apps from my phone. Instead, I have immersed myself in my favorite hobbies and in taking care of myself. Story 126. I received so much love and support from my parents. I never expected to find it anywhere else. Story 127. I'm the crazy friend, always down to hang out. If I want to do something, I'm going to do it. Most people enjoy that in friendship, but in a romantic relationship, it takes a special person to understand that I like the rush. Too often a relationship starts well until I become single-minded about something they disagree with. Story 128. Being cheated on, being told someone settled for you instead of someone they actually liked, and developing feelings for someone only to have them tell you they like another man is exhausting. Story 129. I'm a worthless sack of shit. I don't deserve love or happiness. I'm really sorry you're feeling this way. You don't have to face this alone. If you are in immediate danger, please call your local emergency number now. If you are in the United States, call or text 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If you are elsewhere, please contact your local emergency services or a local crisis line. Consider reaching out to a trusted person or a mental health professional. If you want, I can help find local resources or a crisis number for your area. Story 130. There is an even more interesting question here. People ask a recursive question, why do you not use the search function? Story 131. Making time for someone else seems exhausting from the perspective of someone outside relationships. I am afraid of being that person who immediately gets emotionally hurt. Story 132. I was in a 4-year relationship, but I let addiction and my mental health get in the way. Story 133. I enjoy sex, and I do not trust people or men. I would love to find an awesome queer, non-monogamous boyfriend, but I am very content living alone. You can still want a relationship while decentering romantic relationships. Story 134. I would rather have peace in my life than take the risk of entertaining a woman who can destroy a man mentally, physically, and emotionally. Story 135. As a male retail worker who typically works weekends in a male-dominated mining town, my chances of finding a partner of my choice are greatly reduced. Story 136. I'm great, do not get me wrong, but it is hard to find people with my sense of humor in real life. Not because they do not exist, but because most people are either annoying, boring, or both. I can handle that as friends, but I need my partner to be on my wavelength. It is hard enough to make friends, let alone find my soulmate. Story 137. I am neurodivergent. Recently, a young woman subtly flirted with me at the library. When I try to approach women I like, I feel like a warrior with a wooden sword trying to rescue a princess from a castle surrounded by knights in steel armor, while the princess remains in the highest tower. Story 138. I am too picky and keep going on dates with the wrong people. Story 139. The last man I dated was married. That made me skeptical. I did not know about his wife. Story 140. I know my mental health has crashed off a cliff, and I do not want to take anyone for a ride with me. Story 141. There is too much going on in my personal life. I do not feel I am in a position to give someone else the attention and effort needed for a successful relationship until I have my own life in order. Story 142. I have no idea where to find a potential partner. There is no one in my friend group, and dating apps are not an option. I do not go out because work drains me, and I must handle many tasks for friends and family since I act as the system administrator for about 10 people. Story 143. I do not really care about having a partner right now. I would love to, but I am focusing on myself. Story 144. It took me 48 years to find the love of my life. We broke up after 7 years together. I will never meet anyone like her again. Story 145. Because I want to, and humans can be a pain. Modern relationships are not great. Story 146. I don't like modern women. I prefer women who look good, make an effort to wear nice outfits, and are sweet. Story 147. I am introverted and bad at small talk. I do not go out looking often. Staying single keeps life simple. Me, my dog, the house, and work. Story 148. I never go out. I go to work, then I go home. Story 149. After one engagement fell apart and another woman I planned to propose to did the same, I am focusing on myself. After being rejected by the first woman, with whom I had a strong emotional connection for years, I am concentrating on my own well-being. Story 150. I just got out of a relationship because I noticed red flags, called them out, but she ignored me and put on rose-colored glasses. She became too clingy, so I had to end it. Now, even as friends, she is acting like we are still together. I will need to distance myself further. Story 151. I genuinely do not connect with anyone and only feel sexual attraction. Oh, and romantic repulsion too for the extra spiciness. All in all, I think it's just a big pile of dissociation that intensified my already dismissive attachment style. Story 152. My fiancé and love of my life passed away 5 years ago. I have never felt emotionally capable of a relationship ever since. Story 153. I am tired. I am not sure the juice is worth the squeeze anymore. Story 154. I do not drink, so meeting adults organically is difficult. Story 155. I like married women, But once I get them, I cannot date them because they are obviously cheaters. It is quite a dilemma. Story 156. I'm waiting for someone. She knows how I feel about her. She currently has a boyfriend and has my number. I am going to give it 3 years. If she does not call or text me, I will move on. Story 157. Warning. This is a little heavy and depressing. I am single because my wife, who is also pregnant, passed away last December. She was kidnapped in the middle of the night while moving our belongings from one storage unit to another, and after 26 days her body was finally found in the back of an abandoned house. Brain hematomas were listed as the cause of death. She was believed to have died a few days before being found. It's been a hard year. I miss her so fucking much. Story 158. Feelings are never equally reciprocated and they do not genuinely care. Story 159. Because I am a lunatic who would not put out a fire to save anyone's life. Story 160. I live in a religious state where most people are married before the age of 25, and I work in a place where dating anyone could cost me my job even if it works out fine. I lack time to participate in any social events. Story 161. This question hits home for me. I will provide a lengthy, detailed answer because the reasons are many. I think my username says it all. I am introverted, brutally honest, and the women who love women community is way too sensitive to handle a masshole combat veteran with a blunt take on life. I am a realist. I refuse to sugarcoat things and I believe people are responsible for their own emotional regulation. I am basically a walking trigger warning. What women often do not see is my soft side, the private lady within. The conservative sap who refuses to swear in front of children, will walk an elderly person across the road, will reflexively hold the door for anyone behind me when entering an establishment, and will not be afraid to buy a homeless person a cheeseburger, sit with them on the sidewalk for a chat, and make them feel human and seen. It is extremely difficult to find someone in the women who love women community who shares my values. Where I live, it is hard to find someone who does not look like they have dyed their hair the color of a Halloween wig, has commitment issues, is afraid of the truth, and would rather live in a childlike fantasy with cancel culture, participation awards, and gender ideology. I meet women who will lose their minds over pronouns, burn a flag at a protest rally, and at the same time demand freedom of speech while wanting to censor everything they deem upsetting, like a communist. It is also difficult to find someone who is not a New Age religious zealot disguising rights as hate speech and bigotry, who worships the ground our president walks on, and who wants to live in a rigid, heteronormative butch-femme relationship. I am a rare breed. I am a free-thinking atheist, conservative-leaning libertarian. I believe in decentralization, absolute individual freedom, and free market capitalism. In other words, I believe in concepts that declined after the Wild West era. Today you need a license or permit for everything. You cannot even build on your own property without filing paperwork. We are taxed heavily, and everything is behind a paywall. We are forced into a class system with very little chance of advancement. Basic rights are being stripped away, such as abortion rights, access to healthy food and clean water, and pharmaceuticals without harmful additives such as heavy metals in the pill coatings. In short, it is just hard to find a lesbian or bisexual woman who is compatible with me. Story 162. Guys, just get out, meet people, make mistakes, learn, rinse and repeat. It is the only way. Story 163. It was mostly luck in spite of myself. My last relationship was decades ago. I was engaged, but I guess he did not really want to be. One night, while I was sleeping, he crept from our bed to another woman's bed. I was heartbroken. For many years, I have been grateful to him. He was an alcoholic who died last year from what I suspect was a liver-related disease. I did not yet know myself well enough to realize that I am a person who cannot tolerate living with other people. It would have ended in disaster. Story 164. Nobody thinks people with epilepsy deserve love. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder? Lost a limb or several. Women and men are lining up. Epilepsy? I'm fucking Quasimodo, apparently. Story 165. I was single for a long time, suffering from neurosis. Then one day a woman asked me out and I snapped out of it. Story 166. I have a really hard time meeting new people because my city is unsafe and has awful parking. I am also very picky. Story 167. I feel like everyone I date has a fear of intimacy and trust issues. Laughing out loud. Story 168. My wife of 20 years left me out of nowhere last week. Now I'm 47 and living with my mom because I have nowhere else to go. I'm grateful for a roof over my head, but I'm going through some serious trauma. Story 169. I feel strange thinking about approaching a stranger and telling her that I think she is really pretty and asking her on a date. I always worry she will feel uncomfortable, and I imagine all the reasons she might not want to be with me. I have very low self-esteem. I have been trying to fix it for a long time, but it is hard and very slow. I always wonder if I will ever feel fulfilled. I set goals like when I get this job, I will feel better about myself and be brave enough to ask someone I like on a date. Then I get the job and feel the same, so I set another goal when I have a certain car, start a skin or hair treatment, or reach a certain amount of money. I don't know. It feels like I will never feel enough for anyone. Story 170. I live in a small town and never go anywhere besides work and home. Story 171. I got dumped recently and I don't go out. Dating apps are terrible, so here I am. Story 172. I have a strange tendency to start hating anyone who gets too close to me. Story 173. I do not go out because I have a remote job. Even though I earn well and consider myself good-looking, it is hard to meet people while at home. Laughing out loud. Story 174. I knew her for 30 years, was married to her for 20 years, and have been divorced for 8. I just do not want someone else's problems ever again. I am the happiest I have been in my adult life. Story 175. I want to focus on myself and let the love flow into my life. I did some self-reflection and realized I was doing too much chasing. It feels liberating not to have to beg anyone for a text back. And instead they are the ones asking me for favors and so on. Relationship-wise, I am not looking for anything serious right now, just some friends to go out with and have a good time. I am 22 and going back to school soon, so I am focusing on that as well. I feel I need to fix certain things about myself before jumping into a relationship with another person. Story 176. I am out of shape and do not know what I am doing with my future. I do not regularly meet people. I miss cuddling. Story 177. I'm ugly and depressed and have given up on ever finding anyone. So don't even try. Story 178. If I knew why I was single, I would not be single now. Nah, buddy. Story 179. Fat, ugly, middle-aged, and broke. Just waiting for the sky to fall. Story 180. I don't know how to flirt in public, and I am too shy to maintain eye contact from a distance. Story 181. I'm not perfect. Men expect me to be perfect. I'm not a project to be fixed. Accept me the way I am. I'm pretty awesome, but women will never find out because I can't score 100% on their 100-point checklist. Plus, I might have a red flag. Too many of those for men to keep track of. I don't date men I don't know, and they don't know me. Neither wants to go through rounds of interrogation and suspicion. So we sidestep the hell of trying to date. We keep it simple. Independent individuals sharing good times and benefits. Story 182. I spend too much time reading answers to questions that have been asked here 100 times before. Story 183. I break up with them after the second date because I am scared it could work. Story 184. If I knew a concrete reason, I would have fixed it 12 years ago. Story 185. I barely have friends. I don't know how I am supposed to socialize in such an intimate way. Story 186. Because ladies do not owe men anything, and I am not a charity. Story 187. Being unable to find the right partner and refusing to settle. Story 188. I had an abusive partner for a few years. Looking back, I am disappointed I did not leave sooner, but I am glad I left when I did. I do not trust women anymore or anyone for that matter. At the moment, I am happy living as a recluse. Story 189. Single people of Reddit. I guess the last word in that sentence should be pretty self-explanatory. Laughing out loud. Well, to be honest, my own abandonment wounds and attachment patterns. Story 190. Divorced after a string of failed relationships. I've given up trying. Story 191. I do not wear glasses and I like to keep things simple. I am not a mystery. I am a middle-aged man from the middle of the country. I am the middle child in my family and I work in middle management. Story 192. He did not show up when I needed him most. I have no time to waste on people who are not there for me when I am always there for them. They are not worth my good energy. Story 193. I keep pushing people away. I do not know why, but I am finally going to start therapy. Story 194. I have no friend group. I cannot talk to women. I have had bad experiences with dating applications. I am too busy with work and school to bother trying. Story 195. The crushing weight of adult life and schoolwork is wearing me down, coupled with social anxiety, and although I am improving in small steps, I simply have no clue where to start. I am too anxious about online dating, and approaching people directly feels overwhelming. I generally have so little experience that my schoolwork seems more comprehensible than what the heck I have to do to make things work. I also have a restricted social circle right now because many of my friends are in other places with work or school. Story 196. I am single by choice. I am tired of the chaos and drama that comes with romantic involvement. It is not worth it. Story 197. I do not know how to enter a relationship. I blame my parents. They insisted when I was young not to date until marriage, so as a teenager I pushed people away when they flirted or said they liked me. Now, as a young adult, people do not do that, and I am afraid to ask people out. It is one of my biggest insecurities. I am great at making friends, but terrified of it going beyond friendship. Story 198. I just feel like no one would want a 43-year-old single dad with a 9-year-old daughter. Story 199. Immature, lacking initiative, and demonstrating poor decision-making skills. Story 200. I love how people who don't fit the criteria more often than not have an opinion. Story 201. I find it difficult to feel safe enough to develop feelings for someone, and those feelings are often unreciprocated. In the past 3 years, I can think of only 2 people I had feelings for, and neither reciprocated them. Story 202. I want to date, but I find I get into relationships too quickly. I realize medical school is probably more important than dating right now. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.